O Muhammad, we will give you the most beautiful women of Mecca. We'll pour gold at your feet. Muhammad, we will even make you our king.
Just worship our idols for 1 year, and then we'll worship your Allah the next. But the answer shook the city.
قل يا أيها الكافرون.
He said, "You are Kafir. There will be no deal, no compromise." That day, the leaders of Quraysh became furious, and what followed was pure cruelty. They announced to all of Mecca, anyone who follows Muhammad, no trade, no food, no marriage with them. A total ban.
Ahad! Ahad!
A wall of boycott and hunger. But why did the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, reject their offer of peace? Why do these surahs begin with the command, Kul? Why did he call them Kafirs? Why did the Quraysh torture Bilal radiallahu anhu? Why did they forbid trade and marriage with the followers of the Prophet? And most importantly, what does this 1,400-year-old surah still teach us today? If you want to know the answers to all these questions, watch the full story. In this video, we will break down this surah verse by verse. This is the story of Surah Al Kafirun. Welcome, my brothers and sisters, to Timeless Quranic Stories.
Please tell us, where are you from?
If you enjoy this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support truly helps us continue creating inspiring content like this. And yes, we'd love to read your thoughts, so be sure to leave a comment below. This story is based on true events, beautifully brought to life with the help of artificial intelligence. So take a deep breath. Turn off the noise around you for the next few minutes. Let's begin. In our Muslim households, after Al-Fatiha, the first surahs we teach our children are the 4 Quls.
قل يا أيها الكافرون لا أعبد ما تعبدون
ولا أنتم
Qul ya ayyuhal kafirun. But in our society, how many of us carelessly throw around the word kafir?
Hey, look! Asma Khatun is drinking juice in Ramadan. Oh! She's a kafir. Look also Hamza. He didn't come to Friday prayers today? No. Really? He is a kafir.
So, what does kafir really mean?
It means to conceal, to hide the truth.
We often translate it as disbeliever, but the Arabic root goes deeper. In ancient Arabia, long before Islam, the Arabs used the word kuffar for farmers, and its singular form is kafir. Why? Because a farmer takes a seed and covers it with soil. In the Quranic sense, a kafir is someone who knows the truth deep down, like a seed in the earth, but deliberately covers it up with arrogance, denial, or pride. Scholars tell us this surah was revealed in Mecca during a time when the chiefs of Quraysh were exhausted. They had tried every torture, every trick, and every oppression. They would shout,
4 days you've been like this. Just say, Al-Uzza is your God.
They placed heavy stones on the chests of believers. They burned their skin with hot iron. They beat them until the flesh separated from the bone.
Do you still believe in him?
Call your Allah now!
But despite the pain, the believers did not break.
Ya Allah, please increase my iman. Allahu Akbar.
The chiefs realized that violence wasn't working, so they changed their strategy. They decided,
If we can't beat him, let's buy him. Yes, yes.
one chief said,
Our plans are failing. We called him a poet, a madman, a magician. Nothing works.
another chief said,
There is only one way left. We buy him with beauty and money. We make him our king.
but this failed too. How can you buy a man who has been granted Al-Kawthar, which means abundance, by the creator of the heavens? So Walid ibn al-Mughira came up with a master plan, a plan he thought could not fail. Walid said,
We need a middle ground. We can't stop him, so let's make a deal. A compromise. A way where his business runs and our business runs.
They approached the Prophet with a smile.
Welcome, Muhammad. We have an offer you cannot refuse.
If you say yes, then we are all brothers from today.
For 1 entire year, we will all worship your Allah, and in return, the following year, you will worship our gods, Al-Lat and Al-Uzza, and we will take turns forever. They continued, That way, everything will be equal. No more fighting between us. If your Allah turns out to be true, then we will all believe in him. And if our idols prove to be true, then the victory will be ours. At least, they said,
Just touch our idols once, please, Muhammad.
just touch our idols once. Show them some respect. Maybe ask them for wealth or blessings. That's all we're asking for, Muhammad. Just one small gesture. They thought it was brilliant. Coexistence. What a beautiful idea, they thought. What do you say, Muhammad? The Prophet, peace be upon him, remained silent. He stood up and walked away. His silence made them anxious. The whole city began to whisper, Why doesn't he answer? Ask him again. But the Prophet, peace be upon him, does not speak from his own desire. He was waiting for the command from the heavens. And then, the answer came. It wasn't a negotiation. It was a verdict. This surah is known as Al-Mukashkisha, the remover, because it removes shirk from the heart like a cure removes a disease. The next morning, the Prophet went to the Kaaba. The leaders were waiting, hoping for a yes. Instead, he recited Surah Al Kafirun to their faces. It was a slap in the face of their arrogance. It destroyed their hope. They realized Muhammad could not be bought, intimidated, or tricked. The line had been drawn. The truth stood clear from falsehood. But this refusal came at a heavy price. Enraged, the 4 special leaders of Quraysh wrote a document, a total boycott against the Banu Hashim and the Muslims. They hung it inside the Kaaba. The rules were brutal. No trade with them, no marriage with them, no food, no help, until they hand over Muhammad to be killed. For 3 years, the Muslims starved in the valleys of Mecca. Children cried from hunger, eating leaves to survive, and the torture intensified. They dragged Bilal radiallahu anhu onto the burning desert sand and placed a massive crushing rock on his chest, demanding he renounce Allah. He only whispered, Ahad,
Ahad!
Ahad, one.
Ahad!
They pushed Khabab ibn al-Arat radiallahu anhu onto burning coals until the fat from his back melted and extinguished the fire. But despite the hunger, the pain, and the isolation, not a single believer traded their faith. They remembered the lesson of Al Kafirun, no compromise. Let's understand this verse by verse.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل يا أيها الكافرون.
Verse 1. O Muhammad, say directly, O Kafir. Kafir means disbelievers. Notice the word kul, which means say. It's not a suggestion, it's a command. If that word kul wasn't there, the verse would simply read, O disbelievers, or O leaders of Quraysh, or O respected chiefs of Arabia. But Allah directly calls them kafir, or disbelievers. Why? Because the message had to be firm. Allah knew His Prophet, Rahmatul lil Alameen, the mercy to all worlds. His nature was gentle, filled with kindness. It might have been difficult for him to use such harsh words. So Allah said, Say it, O Muhammad. This is not from you. This is my command. Verse 2.
لا أعبد ما تعبدون.
I do not worship what you worship. La a'budu. This is present and future tense. I do not worship them now, and I will not worship them tomorrow. No deal, no compromise. Not today, not ever. Verse 3.
ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد.
Nor are you worshippers of what I worship. This is profound. They claimed they wanted to worship Allah for a year, right? Allah calls their bluff. He says, You don't actually worship Allah. Why? Because worship requires submission. They didn't want to submit. They wanted to negotiate. You cannot worship the one true God while holding on to your idols. That is not worship. That is a game. Verse 4.
ولا أنا عابد ما عبدتم.
Nor will I be a worshipper of what you worship. Here the grammar changes to the past tense context. Ma abattum. Allah is saying, O Prophet, tell them, I have never worshipped your idols in the past. Even before prophethood, I never bowed to a statue. So if I didn't do it when I was young and unaware, why would I do it now that I have the light of revelation? Verse 5.
ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد.
Nor will you be worshippers of what I worship. It repeats. Why? To show anger, to show finality. Like when a parent tells a child,
I said no! Did you hear me? Did you hear me?
It is to confirm to them, stop asking. The door is closed. This deal will never happen. Verse 6.
لكم دينكم ولي دين.
For you is your religion, and for me is mine. Lakum dinukum waliya din. This is the total separation. And the word deen here doesn't just mean religion. As Dr. Zakir Naik explains, deen means a system, a way of life, a final outcome. It means you have your system, and you will face the consequences of it. And I have my system, and I will receive the reward for it. Ustad Noman Ali Khan said, You cannot pick and choose in a system. You cannot say, I like the prayer part, but I don't like the inheritance part or the business ethics part. Deen is a package deal. It is a system of governance over your entire self. 1400 years ago, Surah Al Kafirun drew a line in the sands of Mecca. Today, that line still runs through our hearts. This surah isn't only about the Quraysh or their idols. It is about every moment in life when truth and compromise stand face to face.
So, what does Surah Al Kafirun teach us today?
First, let's stop throwing the word kafir around so easily. Faith and disbelief aren't always black and white. If someone slips, misses a prayer, or sins openly, it doesn't erase faith from their heart. Pray for their guidance instead of writing their judgment. But the greatest lesson is about integrity. We live in an age that whispers,
relax a little, adjust, blend in. Everyone's taking interest loans for homes, why don't you? Don't be so strict. Religion should be flexible.
Modern pressure has a new name, compromise. We're told to be liberal Muslims, soft enough to fit any crowd. But this surah still echoes through time, reminding us, you can be gentle, you can be peaceful, but you cannot sell your principles. You cannot trade Allah's commands for acceptance or comfort. You might be an abid, a worshipper, but are you a abd Allah, a servant of Allah 24 hours of every day? Or does your loyalty change with convenience? Because a half-Muslim in conviction is no different from a follower of shifting gods. The Prophet, peace be upon him, used to recite this surah often, in the sunnah prayers of Fajr and Maghrib. Why? To remind himself every morning and every night, I am different, I have a mission, and I do not compromise on the truth. He would also recite it before sleep, together with Surah Al-Ikhlas, as a shield from shirk, any trace of associating partners with Allah. Scholars call it Al-Bara'a min ash-shirk, the surah of freedom from idolatry. Do you know something amazing? Did you know that the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, according to At-Tirmidhi, that reciting Surah Al Kafirun is equivalent to reciting 1/4 of the Quran? Why? Because the entire Quran is about Tawhid, oneness of God, and this surah purifies your belief completely. The Prophet advised his companions, recite,
قل يا أيها الكافرون
when you go to bed, for it is a freedom from shirk. Imagine ending your day every single night declaring your loyalty to Allah. It protects your soul while you sleep. Please like, share, and tell me in the comments what was the most shocking moment for you. Also, don't forget to subscribe.